Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to create an Android plugin to send some data or store some data using GlanceStateDefinition in Android widget using Jetpack Glance for Godot game engine. So let's get started. So I'll first show you guys the output. Here I have running my Godot app on a real Android device. I have one button called update widget, but I haven't created any widget. So first I'll create a widget. So I'll just go to my app. So this is my app. Again, I'm mirroring my device, so the output is little laggy, so just bear with me. I'll just wait for this to catch up. Okay, so here is my app. I will long press on the app icon, and here I will go to widgets, and this is the preview image. I mean, you can keep it whatever you feel like. I'll tell you later on how to change the preview image as well. I'll just click on it. I'll click on add, and by default there is no data. So here you can see it is saying that counter value is no data found. Okay, now I will go back to my app. Now I will click on update widget. So what it does is that it stores some value inside GlanceStateDefinition. GlanceStateDefinition is basically like used to store key value data, and it also updates our widget. Like clicking on this button also updates our widget. So now if I go back to our widget, here you can see counter value is hello everyone. Now this hello everyone, I'm sending it from Godot side to our native Android plugin, which updates into widget. So instead of hello everyone, send whatever you feel like. But anyways, hopefully you got the point. Also this is the documentation to create an Android plugin. By going through this documentation, I have created a cheat sheet, so I won't go through the documentation again. If you want, you can read the documentation. So firstly, what you will have to do, open Android Studio and create an Android project. It can be an empty views project, empty compose project, doesn't really matter. I have already created a project. So if I just quickly tell you, just file, new project, and here you can either choose this one or this one. It's up to you. Just click on next, enter some project name, click finish. Then Gradle syncing will take a little bit of time. Just wait for that. Once that is done, you should see something like this been created. Okay, so you should see this Android drop down over here, and here you should see app as well as Gradle scripts. Now you will have to create this my library folder. So for that, you can just right click on app, new, module, select Android library. Here you can name it as my library, change the package name to whatever you feel like, and then click on finish. I have already created it, that's why it is not allowing me to create again. So I'll just cancel this. You will have to click finish. Again, the Gradle syncing will take a little bit of time, so be patient. Once that is done, you will have to open Gradle scripts. You will have to go to build.gradle of your library or whatever name you have given. Then the first thing is change the compile SDK to 35 at least. I know I'm using Godot 4.3.0. It does not support SDK 35. It supports only up to SDK 34, but it is fine. In your plugin you can change it up to 35. It will not cause any issue. Okay, so change this to at least 35 or whatever is the higher version whenever you are watching this video. Then scroll down, and inside this particular Android block itself, you will have to add these three things. Now this is boilerplate code which we have to write, because the Android widget which we will be creating uses Jetpack Glance, and Jetpack Glance require all this kind of stuff as well, to configuration kind of stuff. So make sure you copy this. Now this particular version depends on the Kotlin version which you are using inside your Android plugin. So I'm using Kotlin version 1.9.25. so for that, what you will have to do, go to libs.versions.toml over here and make sure you update your Kotlin version to 1.9.25. if you are using, make sure you at least use this version. Again, I know Godot 4.3.0 does not use Kotlin for its Android. It uses Kotlin but not Kotlin 1.9.25. I think 1.9.20 it uses, but this is fine. Make sure whatever Kotlin version you are using over here matches with this particular version. So 1.9.25 of Kotlin version matches with 1.5.15 of Kotlin compiler extension version. You can check the Android documentation if you are using some higher version of this or else higher version of Kotlin. So make sure you change that. Then this again boilerplate code which you have to write. Then you have to scroll down here. Like I told you, I'm using Godot 4.3.0. that's why I've added this particular dependency. If you are using higher version of Godot, make sure you upgrade this as well. And at the time of me recording, the glance app widget dependency is 1.1.1. so that's what these two dependencies are for Android widget using Jetpack Glance. Now the warning it is showing me because it is telling me to use version catalog. I don't want to use version catalog, it's fine. Okay, so then you will have to go to this main build.gradle.kit. so not sorry, this one of your app. Also change the compile SDK to 35 over here, target SDK to 35 over here. Yeah, that should be it. And here you will now see a sync now button. Just click on it. Again, it will download all the dependencies for you, so you will have to wait a bit. Okay, once that is done, I'll close everything. Then you will have to go to my library, go to Kotlin plus Java, and here you will have to select a file, create a Kotlin file called Godot Android plugin. To create a file, Kotlin file, you can just right click, new Kotlin class file, name it as Godot Android plugin. I have already created it. Now these are all the imports for it, so you can just copy paste all these imports. Now the first thing is it extends from Godot plugin. The name which I have given it as my plugin. You can name whatever you feel like, but do remember this name because we will be using this name in lot other places as well. Then I'm not really making use of any signals because I'm not sending any data from our native Android plugin to Godot side. If you want, you can make use of signals. Then here I have created a method called update widget which takes some value. This value will be coming from Godot side, and then on a background thread I'm just getting the glance ID of our widget. Now I have not shown you this particular file called my widget. So this is the widget file which will actually create the widget for you. In case if you decide to rename it to something else, make sure you change it over here as well as over here. But currently I'm getting the glance IDs. Then I'm just doing a for each on it, and then we just do update app widget state, and this is the key. So I want to store string data, that's why I'm using string preference key, and this is the key for it. So same key you will have to use it inside your Android widget as well, and I'm just assigning the value whatever you are passing, and then here we are updating our widget as well. Okay, so this is done. Then you will have to go to manifest, Android manifest.xml. You will just have to, so this entire thing which you see is copied from the documentation itself. Now to register our Android widget, we have to write this particular receiver. So firstly we will have to write this particular name. So I have created a Kotlin file of same name as well, which I will show you shortly. But if you are changing the name, make sure you change it over here as well. Exported is true. Then this again is boilerplate code to update our app widget. Then here I have created our metadata as well, and I have given it a name of android.appwidget.provider, and here it is referencing an XML file called my app widget info. Now we will have to create 3 files for my app widget info as well as 3 different folders of XML. The reason is because the minimum SDK which we are using is 24. Now some features of some features are of this XML file are only available from HDK 28 and some are only available from HDK 31. Okay, so first now we will have to create this particular file. So for that we have to first create 2 folders, XML v28 as well as XML v31. I think the XML folder is also not present. Okay, so I have created that. So what you will have to do first is go to project drop down. Don't create the folder from Android drop down, you will mess things up. So go to project drop down, go to your library folder, go to src main res, and here first create an XML folder. To create a folder, just right click on res, new directory, and name it as XML. Similarly do it for XML-v28 and XML-v31. Okay, then you will have to create a file called my app widget info, what we have named over here inside our XML. So again just right click, new file, name it as my app widget info.xml. Similarly do the same thing for XML-v28 as well as XML-v31 also. Then go to my app widget info.xml. Again I have just copy pasted this from documentation. So first we give it a resize mode of horizontal or vertical. this is the time period after how much you want to update your widget. In our case this is unnecessary, but I have given it. Then this is the mean height, mean width, then this is the mean resize height, mean resize width, then this is the description. Now for description you can't hard code any text, like you can't write my app description. You have to write the description inside strings.xml only. So for that, what you will have to do, go to res, you will have to create a folder called values. If that values folder is not already present, inside that you will have to create a folder called strings.xml. So here you can see I have given it, and this is the key name which I am using over here, and this is the actual value. Now you can change the key name value to whatever you feel like. Okay, then inside initial layout I'm just using this glance default loading layout which is available from our Jetpack glance dependency. This is the loading indicator which you saw when we were trying to create our widget, and here I have given this preview image. So for that you can add some image inside your drawable folder. If this drawable folder is not present, make sure you create this drawable folder as well, and this is the image which I'm using. Use whatever image you feel like. Now coming back to my app widget info of XML v28, it is exactly the same. The only thing is I have just added this widget features. Again, I'm also not really sure what this does, but I have just added it given that it was in the documentation. Rest everything is same. Then go to XML v31 of my app widget info. Again, it is exactly the same. Again, I have just copy pasted it from the previous XML. Only things which I have added is max resize height, max resize width, target cell height, target cell width. That's it. Then just close this. Then you will also have to create a folder called layout, which I have already created, and inside that create a file called custom error layout.xml. Then just go to code, and here you just have to copy this code. Now we are creating this file, so in case if our Jetpack glance Android widget by some reason fails to render, then this we are providing this as a fallback UI. So if you see, I'm just displaying error displaying widget, but you can use whatever you feel like. You can use an image view as well. I'm just using a text view, so it's up to you what you want to do. And here I have also given it an ID, so do remember this ID as well as this file name, because we will be using this file name as well as this ID inside our Jetpack and glance Android widget code. And with the help of this ID you can update this text views text programmatically as well, which I will show you shortly. Okay, once that is done, inside your library folder you have to create another folder called export scripts template. Inside that create two files, export_plugin.gd as well as plugin.cfg. Inside plugin.cfg, again I have copy pasted this from documentation. Only thing is this should be your plugin name. Change the description author to whatever you feel like. In case if you forgot what your plugin name is, go to main Java Godot Android plugin, and this is your plugin name. Okay, then go to export underscore so plugin.cfg, this is the code. Then go to export underscore plugin.gd. Again this is the same code which I have copy pasted it from the documentation. Only thing which you have to change is this should be your plugin name. Okay, then scroll down. I will just close this. Scroll down, and you also need to add this particular extra method called get Android dependency, because apart from the Godot Gradle dependency, we also added widget Jetpack glance dependency, right? So we don't need to specify the Godot dependency, but we need to specify Jetpack glance dependency. So that's what I have done over here. So whatever version you are using inside build.gradle, make sure you use the same version over here as well as for this particular library. Same I have done for our release mode as well. So this is for debug, this is for release. Rest everything remains the same apart from this plugin name again, which you will have to change. Also one more thing which I forgot, go to again to your Android drop down, go to Android manifest.xml, and here this again should be your plugin name. Don't copy my plugin name, and this should be your package name. So in case if you forgot, go to a Godot Android plugin, and this is your package name. So just copy it, and this is the file name which we had created. Next you have to create another Kotlin file called my app widget receiver, which extends from glance app widget receiver, and here we just do glance app widget, and which equals to my widget. So for that I have created another Kotlin file. So this is the Kotlin file which will store all the Jetpack glance code. So firstly, these are all the imports which I have. One thing which I want to warn you about is Do not, in case if you are importing Jetpack Compose as well inside your Android plugin, we are not doing that. Make sure you do not import any Jetpack Compose imports inside this particular file, otherwise you will get our error layout screen which we had created inside XML. In case if you didn't understand what I was saying, ignore it. So firstly, these are all the imports which I have, so you can just copy paste it. And here we are exporting from glance app widget. This is the size mode of exact. Then this is the glance state definition. Then here we are overriding provide glance. This is our provide content as well. Then this is the current state of preferences. And here you can see I'm using the same key, string preference key. This is the same key which we used inside our plugin code. In case if there is no data inside it, I'm just saying no data found. Then here I have just defined a scaffold and a title bar. I'm providing some image. I've given it some title as well. Then I've given it some background color as well. Then I've taken some column. Then inside text we are actually displaying the value. I've given some styling to our text as well. And if you scroll down, I have also defined this on composition error method. So here you can see we are referencing the custom error layout file which we had created inside our layout folder, and I'm getting hold of that text view which we have created using that ID. And here you can display whatever error message you want to, and then we again update our widget. So yeah, I think that should be it on Android side. Let me check. Yeah, okay, then what you will have to do is you will just open your terminal, cd to your Android project, not to your Android library but to your Android project. So this is my Android project, right? I have already cd'd into it, and then you just have to run this particular command. Where did it go? So this particular command, just copy it and paste it over here. Now again this will take a little bit of time to run, so let it be. In the meantime, you can just create a Godot project. For your Godot project, the first thing which you have to do is go to project, install Android build template. I have already done this, that's why it is showing me like this. But if you are doing this for the very first time, you will also need to download the template. Again, the downloading might take a little bit of time, so you can download the template first and then install it. Once that is installed, you have to go to project, export, click on add Android. I have already added it. At the bottom you might be seeing some red color text with a fix import button. Just click on it. I have already clicked on it, and here you have to check this use Gradle build option. Inside Android architecture, select all 4 of this if you don't know what Android architecture you are going to run on. Yeah, and I think then you can just close it. Then just go to your Godot project, just create a folder called add-ons. Inside that, create a folder with your plugin name. Inside that, create a folder called bin, and also you need to copy these 2 files, export plugin.jd and plugin.cfg, from your Android project. So just to show it to you, so this is my Android project, right? So I'll just go to library, export scripts template, and just copy these 2 files over here. Then inside bin you have to create 2 folders, debug and release. And if I go to my terminal, here you can see it was successfully created. This command was successfully ran. So in case if it is failing for you, that means you did some mistake. Do check your code again, the Android code. Then you will have to go to your library inside your Android project, go to build, outputs, AR, and here you should see 2 AR files being generated. Now you have to copy the debug AR file to the debug folder and the release AR file to the release folder. Once you have copied it, you will have to change the file name as well to whatever is your plugin name -debug.ar, and for release also whatever is your plugin name -release.ar. Once these things are done, you will have to go to project settings, go to plugins, and make sure you check this checkbox as well. Then inside our UI, I have just taken a button, that's it, nothing much. And here I have attached one script to it, and on that script I have just added this click listener for our button as well over here. Okay, then if you see my script, I'm just, again this should be your plugin name, and inside on ready we are just initializing our plugin, and on button press we are just calling the method and passing some value over here. So yeah, I think that should be it. Let me quickly check. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Do let me know in the comments if you have any issues. Bye.